In this short video, we share a few stories of the lives touched by the Barker Adoption Foundation. These are just a few of the many families whose lives are fuller because of adoption. Thanks for watching. When someone comes to us experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, they do so because they care about their child. And we too care about their child. And that is the start of a relationship that remains focused on the child even as the child becomes an adult.
What is it that makes me sit and cry and leaves me asking questions, who knows why?
I love to sing. I sing more than I talk. It's like at the root of everything that I'm doing is this voice. And I'm still using it for singing, but now I'm using my voice to share a story. When I was a senior in college, the fall, my father passed away suddenly. At that same time, I was pregnant. But because of this life event and the role that I had to take in it all, I was too scared and nervous about what was going on with my body that I made a decision to kind of ignore it. And it was probably a moment in my life where I was in the most depressed state I've ever experienced. Luckily, I had a really dear friend who scooped me up from all of this and said, I'll help you. So we drove around to a bunch of different clinics. Finally, we came upon the last one where they did an ultrasound, and the nurse told me, yeah, you're 7 months pregnant and you are going to have this baby. My aunt is the superhuman that we can thank for finding Barker. She started reading about it, saw all of the things about lifelong support, and then we got an adoption counselor. And we talked a lot about my principles and the things that I value and the things that I'm searching for these parents to also have. I don't think any of us realized how close we would be. We just were meant to be connected. Before the birth, my Barker counselor was extremely helpful because I didn't have any idea how do medical expenses work when you have a baby. How do you sign the papers in the hospital? Who needs to be in the room? All of these questions that I had that I couldn't handle, she was able to guide me through them in a very easy way that made it not feel so stressful. If you are coming from a space where you don't feel like you have that overwhelming love and support, Barker will provide you with that community and with that family and with those people who are truly listening to you and asking you what your needs are. And it's frightening, but these people do exist, and they are at Barker.
If you're experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, counselors are available 24/7. Call our confidential line at 1-888-731-6601 or text a counselor at 240-600-1106 to receive no-cost and pressure-free information about the adoption process. You may also visit our website at barkeradoptionfoundation.org/pregnancy. We're here to help you.
At the Barker Adoption Foundation, we welcome families of all types. We support families of all types. And we do that in a special way in that we learn about each family. We support each family and we train each family given their unique needs.
The greatest joy is when you see that growth happening, where you start to see an individual coming out of their shell. And with our son Caleb, we get to experience that nuance to his character development.
My name's Adam. I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm Caleb's papa.
I'm Rob, and I would be Caleb's dad.
No one goes into foster care for a good reason. And so when they come out, what we learn is kids have a lot of emotions around that. Sometimes there's trauma and shock, sometimes there's anger and frustration, and that will come out sideways. The Barker Pride training really gave us the knowledge that we needed to parent kids that were coming out of the foster care system.
The facilitators were great. As a two-dad household, we were in that group with single parents, straight couples, getting through the material with very personal stories and checks on what your assumptions and expectations were. We were aware that there were some very specific challenges to his situation, and even though we had a sense that we were ready to move forward, they slowed our roll a bit to make sure that we were ready for the challenges.
We first met Caleb after a pretty long flight and then driving 6 hours. Texas is big.
We went to a Target, I think, one of the first thing, and it was so much fun going down the aisles in the store with him holding onto our hands. You know, we were letting ourselves take his cues. Caleb came to us with some developmental delays. It's taken us a while to get our heads around how to best approach that.
He likes to be physical, so we practice breathing, we get him outside, we try to really use what his strengths are in order to kind of navigate those feelings that most kids have, but the way that his come out can be very different. All those different trainings before we adopted Caleb and then after we adopted Caleb have been really helpful.
So much of what we've learned along the way is that you don't need to rush in to fix things, and to give him an opportunity to experience and grow as a person.
The first time he told us, no, I don't like that, it was completely frustrating and amazing at the same time, because it spoke to him feeling safer with us. March 13th, 2018 was the legal finalization, and probably the most profound 15 minutes of our lives. We were called in front of this judge, and he asked if Caleb wanted us to be his parents, and he asked us if we loved him or would care for him.
Which we already knew the answers to, but it was all very official.
We've grown a lot as a family. He's taught us how to be patient and how to love him in the way that he wants to be loved.
Barker offers education and training when you need us. Visit barkeradoptionfoundation.org to learn more and register for our upcoming workshops and trainings.
The programs at the Barker Adoption Foundation that really capture my heart are those that serve children who, without our efforts, would not have a permanent, loving family. And that includes our Project Wait No Longer program, in which we're seeking and supporting families for children languishing in foster care, and our international programs for children with special needs. Those children are living in orphanages and would truly flourish in the loving arms and in the hearts of families, Barker families, who will care for them.
I'm Seth Pennington. I'm a federal contractor here in Washington, D.C. And we have 3 children, Landon, who's 8, and Cecily, who's 6, both of whom we adopted through Barker, and then Martelise, who's 20 months.
And I'm Katie Jennings, and Landon came home from South Korea, and Cecily came home from China, and we used Barker for both of our adoptions. And Martelise is biological. For our second adoption, we felt much more comfortable about being parents and about raising kids, and decided that we wanted to look more into the China Waiting Child program.
There were a lot of reasons we were considering the Waiting Child program. We were excited about being able to help out a child who had special needs, and we're exposed to a lot of doctors who were going to be able to help us, and we felt very confident.
And then we jumped in.
Landon came with us to China. From the moment we stepped off the bus with Cecily, she grabbed his hand, and they were just 2 peas in a pod.
That sealed their bond, and they are so close. And I believe they will always be that close. I think once we really understood that you outline what you think your family can handle, that we felt more comfortable jumping into it. And I think we found as we moved through the process that we were a lot more open than we ever thought we were. From the get-go, we knew that she had one of 2 syndromes, but they couldn't test her for them until she came home. One would show us that she'd kind of gone through the worst of everything. And if it was the second, then it would be a lifelong of issues with her kidneys, her eyesight, her weight. When we got her home and got her tested, she has the syndrome that will be a lifelong road for us. The flip side of that, though, is that Cecily is not showing the same symptoms as most kids that have her syndrome. Blindness will likely come. That will likely be one, and we knew that going into it. She's followed by a lot of specialists, and she gets Braille and speech and orientation and mobility at school. So, you know, her school works with us.
Being in the Washington, D.C. area, being close to Barker, we have a lot of resources, both on the adoption community side and on the medical field side.
When considering a special needs adoption with Barker, it's important that you know the limits are going to be set by you. What you and your spouse or partner think you can handle.
I remember being concerned, well, what if we check 3 boxes and then they automatically would give us a child with all 3, and very quickly conversations with Barker alleviated that concern.
It's a leap of faith, but you can do it. It's not as scary as it looks. We have good days, we have bad days, we've had days where, good doctor's
really
appointments.
Rough doctor's appointments. You know, embarking on adoption of a child with special needs, you're Googling medical conditions and everything is worst case scenario. And I think when you're in that process, a lot of people are forgetting what this wonderful child's going to be in your family. That they're going to be a full person and bring so much into your life. And that was 100% confirmed with us.
It's not as scary as it seems once you're in the process and doing it. You know, once you see that picture of your child and you learn about them, it's hard to imagine your life without that child.
Barker helped eliminate some of those fears that we had while keeping things realistic and not painting too rosy of a picture. But when all is said and done, your family just feels complete. You have this new family member who day in and day out brings you joy.
And you will learn just as much from that child as the child will get from you. Probably more.
Every child deserves a loving, permanent, and safe family. Challenges are big, but the rewards are even bigger. Learn more about our waiting children by calling our office at 301-664-9664, attending one of our free monthly adoption information meetings, or by visiting our Waiting Children page on our website at barkeradoptionfoundation.org.
Our commitment to serving all members of the constellation for a lifetime is perhaps one of the most unique things in the adoption field, and one that is perhaps the envy of many.
It was about 33 years ago that my husband and I first called the Barker Foundation. They gave us our 2 children, but so much more than that. We have come to them for information, recommendations, a shoulder to cry on, and for support. Our family, like many families, has been through a lot. There's been many joyful times, but we've had our share of significant struggles. Our oldest child, our son, decided to make his initial contact with his birth mother when he was in prison. And we have now been coming to the parent support group, I don't know how many years. Sometimes I come because I have a specific question I want answered. Sometimes I come because I just need to vent. It's a community, a family, and it's a place to laugh a lot.
Many of our support groups at Barker come with a facilitator who has direct adoption experience. It allows the group members to feel like there's someone who's been there or done that or understands them and is able to connect with them in a different way.
We know we will find people who will not judge us and give us what we need. The fact that we had Barker here to help him, us, and his birth mother, she came here and got so much help and support, and ever since then, we really have been like one extended family. I don't know if any of that would have happened without the support that we got here. Barker has led in terms of relationships with birth parents and openness, and I feel as if I grew and evolved with them. And that has been possibly the thing I am most proud of in my life. What we found was an agency we could truly partner with and grow with over the years through the adoption and the joys and the struggles that followed. And we're still going through that, and they're still there for us.
We welcome you to contact Barker about our post-adoption services, and we will address you warmly and supportively. Our monthly support groups are free and include groups for birth parents, adoptees, and adopted parents. We offer group and individual counseling, and we accept insurance. Call Barker's offices at 301-664-9664 or visit our family and post-adoption page on our website at barkeradoptionfoundation.org to get the support you need.
To our Board of Trustees and to our donors, we thank you. We thank you for standing with us, for believing in Barker's mission, and more importantly, standing with us to fiercely defend every child's right for a permanent, loving, and supportive family.
Without Barker, I wouldn't have my family. And I just believe that that's what Barker needs to do. They need to keep creating families. And without people supporting them, that's not going to happen. And so that is why I'm a supporter. We had a wonderful social worker who was fabulous and kept us calm. And she said, I'll never call your house unless it's time, unless the baby's here. If I need to reach you, I'll send you a letter. And my in-laws were in my house and my husband was in California. And I came home from the bank and my mother-in-law said, your social worker called, she wants you to call her back. I nearly passed out because I didn't want to tell her, you know, I didn't want anybody to know. And I didn't share it with my parents because we had been through so much, and I didn't want, if something went wrong, for them all to suffer. I didn't want anybody else to feel the pain if something happened. And I made the call, and I was writing furiously as she's telling me the baby's here and everything. I have notes, handwritten, I still have the notes. And I'm hysterical crying, and my mother-in-law thinks somebody died. Like she and my father are like all across the room in the kitchen trying not to listen, but they don't know what's going on. And that was the beginning. And Alan and I had, he was in California, and we had a code that when the baby came, if we needed to say something, the bears are dancing. And he called from California, his parents were in the room, and all I could say was the bears were dancing. David, my son, came to me in August. And when they brought him in and I took one look at him, I burst out crying. And he was mine from that minute. Then I had another son 4 years later through Barker. They believe in sibling groups, so that's a really big reason to come here. They gave me my family.
Adoption fees cover about 50% of the costs of our services. Luckily, there are many ways you can support Barker. Go to barkeradoptionfoundation.org to donate in the best way for you. Your support to our annual fund provides urgent, unrestricted funds for all of Barker's programs and services. Consider giving a gift of love with a one-time donation or setting up a monthly donation of any size. Visit our website today.
We welcome you to be a part of the Barker community. Learn how we can serve you or how you can help the community by reaching out to us. And to those who are already a part, thank you. The world is a better place because of you.